This video is a short version of the longer explanation on how to create or how to gather information from source number one, which happens to be a website. Now, when you get to this link, you will be working, hopefully if you can open up two tabs on your Chromebook. One will be to the Google Doc and the second one to the Writer's Workshop template. So if you notice up here, it says Writer's Workshop. In order to get to that document, the Google Doc, you need to sign in to your Google Drive, which you can get through by signing through Gmail, and use your school email and password to get to the drive. Now the drive can be found at the very top. If you notice here this waffle or this grid, you click on that and go to drive. Now most of the times, as you can see, it would be right here. You have to click on share with me, and when you get to share with me, it would be right here at the top. Okay, so let's begin. Now this template, at least for source number one, which is paragraph number 2, has been pre-filled, not completely, but just a little bit. What I want you to do is use notice and note, and I began the process, and these are the signposts. As you read, do not rush in the reading. Read a few lines at a time and ask yourself, what signpost can I use to write some notes? And then make the selections so that later you will be able to use this information to write your informative essay. You will be teaching me something. You will be informing about something or showing me how of anything. In this case, it's about tobacco and e-cigarettes and how they affect, or in this case, impact teens of color. Okay, so let's begin. So the first thing that you have to do is notice the title, okay, African Americans and Tobacco Use. So then begin to read it. I have intentionally highlighted these two, a couple of things. One is Black of African American is defined. It gives you a definition, and the definition is quoted, by the way, because it's quoted directly from a government agency, the Office of Management and Budget, as a definition that they use. So I will copy paste that right away. And as you notice, if you're using a Mac, that would be Command C. If you're using a Chromebook, Control C. You copy that, and right away under where it says quote, in this case, I've already used it. So this one says quote number 5. You would just afterwards, let me put it again. Actually, no. Yep, let me put it again so that you can see. You would just put it next to it, leave a space, and do Command V if you have a Mac, or Control V if you have a Chromebook. Now notice that I actually used the other part as well, and I quoted that because I'm taking it directly from the article. And in between, I put my own words, which are right here. So go ahead and copy paste any quote that you feel will help you organize the topic in order to inform. Now, I don't want to spend too much time. What you're going to do is use the signpost that I'm providing and some of the questions to help you collect information. As you can see, there's a graph which has to do with this signpost, numbers and stats. I went ahead and took two details. Number one, it says in 2019, about 15% of African Americans smoke cigarettes. It's right here, look. The title is right above the graph, but then this says 14.9, and that's the reason why I say about, not 15%. And then I say of African Americans smoked tobacco in that year. And because the prompt is asking for tobacco and e-cigarettes, I'm looking at e-cigarettes as well. And that's the second detail that I wrote. Now, you're going to have to continue on your own. But at this point, I want you to know that examples, you can include examples from your own real life or an anecdote. An anecdote could be anything that can be written in a couple of sentences, no more than 4 sentences. Basically, it's a mini story. I'll give you an example. My grandma lived to be 88, and her mom lived to be 110. However, my grandma used to smoke every morning, and she thought that nobody knew, but she would hide the cigarettes and smoke before everybody got up. Now, I think that she could have lived to be 110 if she had not been a habitual smoker. So she could have lived another 22 years, possibly. So that is an anecdote. That is an example of real life. And I'm making a connection to the subject. Now, in that case, it wasn't e-cigarettes because they didn't exist, but it was a cigarette. So I want you to connect what you read to real life as well as you begin to gather information. Okay, so I'm going to leave it off right here because you need to continue to write your own details that will be used for writing your informative or expository essay. And if you have any questions, send me a Schoology message. I will answer any questions you have. And this is for source number 1. And the title of the source is called African Americans and Tobacco Use.